All right, true to form, I've put this off like I do everything, and this time I decided that I can't go to the gym until this is done. And that actually means something because I walk about 5 miles to the gym, and it's 25 degrees out right now. If I put this off too long, it's just going to get colder. So either do the video or freeze my ass off. And if you know me at all, you know I have like no ass. So I have nothing to lose. I mean, I would just disappear. I'm going to be utilizing the pause function in video now and then because the one note my own mother gave me upon watching my first video was, "You ramble a lot." So, so I will try to cut out the mindless utterances a little bit, or if the cats jump into frame, I might cut that out, unless they demand to be seen. We'll see. But this video is just going to be a quicker one about the various inspirations that I've had for making this trek this spring. Again, my name is David, late 40s from the Midwest, and if you want to know more about why the hell I'm going to go from Georgia to Maine and play basketball in every state along the way, go ahead and watch the first video on my page. The channel's called Game On, GA, capital letters, dash ME, capital letters, and then just the word on. So you should be able to find that from this. And without further ado, since I don't ramble, mother, I will go on to the very first inspiration. This is me and my sweetie. God, it's like seeing a gorgeous sunrise next to a pale pile of dirt and snow. Like, I don't know how I ended up with her, because, I mean, clearly, if you look at her glasses, maybe she has bad eyesight. Maybe that's why she's with me. I don't understand. I just look like a goofball troll from under a bridge. But she makes me happy, and I hope I at least give her a little bit of that happiness. But she's inspiring to me because of her whole personality. She's very much a, well, that's not a great idea, but you do what you want to do kind of girl. And on the flip side, she's also, oh, that's a great idea, but, you know, if you don't want to do that, that's your call. And if you watch any of these videos for very long, you'll realize that's not really who I am. I'm very much a all or nothing, right and wrong, black and white. There are no grays. I get probably too wrapped up in how things should be, and she really inspires me to just, well, to be honest, to chill the fuck out. And I think she rightly sees this trip as a way for me to learn a little bit more of that patience and a little bit more of that take it as it comes vibe that has really helped her succeed in life. And I think the absence of that has really held me back, even through a lot of the challenges that I've faced. You know, my drive and my using anger as fuel has gotten me quite a long ways from where I was told I would be able to be as a child. But it can only take you so far. You know, you can only live out of spite for just so much. And there's a whole lot more out there that you can find when you have the kind of mindset that she does. And I'm sure as these videos go on, I'll talk so much more about her. So you'll get to understand just why I am endlessly enamored with this woman. So on to the next inspiration. This is my grandfather. He's no longer with us. He passed away about 12 years ago. But he lived a very long and very amazing life. He spent his childhood in basically a one-room hovel with a dirt floor in the Armenian quarter of Jerusalem. And this was back when Jerusalem was still considered, well, I mean, technically it was called the Holy Land, but generally it was still Palestine. And we'll get into that more, I'm sure, as time goes on. But he is an Armenian Palestinian. And when the Nakba happened in 48, he kind of took it upon himself to write a better life and taught himself multiple languages, made himself indispensable for a telecommunications company that was laying the very first telephone systems in Africa. And he just really embodied the very notion of a self-made person. The things that he accomplished in life really all stemmed from that desire to take education and learning and making yourself into something more. He really took that and ran with it. And there was always jokes, I think, in my grandmother's family that he was a spy. I don't think there's any truth to that. But when you see him in photos like this, it's kind of like, wow, he does look like he's got some debonair, charismatic sort of shadow operative vibe to him. And the guy next to him looks like he's straight out of Hollywood. But yeah, my grandfather was a pillar. And he pushed education, and he pushed pushing. The night before he had the stroke that eventually took his life, he spent about 20 minutes before dinner lecturing me about how I was wasting my potential. Now, this was in the middle of me being extremely sick for almost a decade. And he's like, I don't care. I don't care if you can't do the things you used to physically. You can still write. You can still talk. You have a story to tell people. And at the time, I was like, yeah, I hear you, but I was wallowing in the misery of my sickness. And he was right. And I think now that I've got my body back again, along with my mind, I kind of want to combine the two and want this trek to be a physical accomplishment, but also these videos to sort of honor that lecture of his and to put my story out there. I don't know what it's going to be worth to anybody. Initially, it was just going to be for me, because when I had my stroke in 2018, I noticed afterwards that my memory is garbage. And if I don't write everything down or document everything, it's going to slowly fade away. And I don't want an adventure like this to fade away. So this was going to be just for me. But he's right. I guess there is a story, and if somebody finds value in it, then it can be for them too. So he's my second most powerful inspiration, I think, in life. He was someone that I was always very close to, and someone who had a worldview that was kind of that salt of the earth mentality. He did everything he could and succeeded in virtually everything he tried. And I've always wanted to be like him in a lot of ways. And this is a chance to take that adventurous spirit that he had and see what I can do with it. To lighten things up a little bit, another inspiration that I've always had are the Ewoks. The Ewoks are much maligned in the Star Wars fandom, but I loved them. I mean, I was a child when Return of the Jedi came out, saw it in the theaters, and I don't care about their cuteness. I care about the fact that they stood up against the man. They were a ragtag bunch of gorilla teddy bears who fucked shit up against the Empire. You don't mess with Wicket. You don't mess with any of the Ewoks. And that's kind of the vibe that I've always liked. I'm a small guy. I'm only 5'4". And even when I was at my most muscular, there's still, I might look big. I have really broad shoulders and all, but I'm still a short guy. And I'm a hairy guy, so people have often compared me to Ewoks. And you know what? I don't care. I'm fine with that. Yub nub, bitches. Yub nub. Now, on to the three biggest inspirations that I've had from YouTube. Both inspiring me to do sort of a video log of the whole adventure, but also just inspiring me with their attitudes. Julianne, or also known as Roadrunner, even though her page is called Hiking Dancer, she did the trail a couple years ago, and I highly recommend watching her videos. She did one long sort of compilation video, it's almost like a documentary style, of her whole trek, and that was fantastic. She has a very low-key, very relaxing vibe, very great sort of under-the-breath European humor. She's from Germany, but very much American as well, and her perspective on the trail was fun to watch. She had serious health issues most of her life, too, and so that was quite a spark to see someone who's dealt with that sort of thing and who deals with ongoing challenges in that regard. And you never hear about it on the trail videos. You only find out about it if you keep watching her channel, and eventually you'll find out what I'm talking about. You should give it a look. It's fantastic. Thanks, Roadrunner. You're a great inspiration. Bad Bat. Now, Bad Bat is quite the interesting young lady. She was awesome. She had such a joy for the trail, but also a complete lack of fear regarding showing when she was not overly joyed. And you know what? That's honest. I loved her honesty and her vulnerability to be completely open. And she dealt with a lot of shit, I think. And when you get to the very end, you'll see that people in the world, they can be pretty horrible. Most of the people on the trail are fantastic. Sometimes people off the trail decide to invade, and, well, I don't want to spoil anything, but Bad Bat hikes. Bad Bat went through probably one of the most devastating things someone can go through on the trail. And frankly, when it happened, I was gobsmacked. My jaw was on the ground. I could not believe the shit that happened. And frankly, just thinking about it still pisses me off. But she got through it. In fact, she got through it like such a champ that she wrote a damn song about it. And if you finish her documentary, you'll get to hear it. Good job, Bad Bat. You're definitely inspiring me along the way. And finally, this is Nick Green, also known as Hollywood on the Trail. And his channel, Pack and Soul, is just, it's the Appalachian Trail Bible for me. I found him way back in the spring. He was actually one of the big catalysts that made me say, okay, this can happen. I can do this. And I might not be nearly as good a filmmaker as him. Obviously, I'm filming my own freaking computer rather than learning how to insert, I don't know, a recorded screenshot. I don't even know how to do that shit. I'm not that old that I'm a Luddite when it comes to technology, but I'm old enough that I don't have time to figure out all this stuff, and I wouldn't be as good as other people, so I just kind of go with it. But his 7-part documentary about his trail journey was fantastic. And even though it's a little bit of a spoiler, it's at the very beginning of the whole thing, so I'm just going to accept that it's not going to be that earth-shattering for you. But the name of his channel is because of something a man said while he was journeying, and he put it at the very beginning of his documentary. This man on the trail said to him that if you can't fit it in your pack or in your soul, you don't need it. And that immediately told me that this was a guy I wanted to watch. So check out his videos. His personality is as amazing as the scenery and the trek that he went on and the people he meets along the way. It's all just quite magical, and I will never be able to stop thanking Nick as long as I live. So thanks, buddy. I really appreciate it. And that will conclude my video. I will close it out real quickly with one final thought. If you can, you must, for those who can't. Yub nub, bitches. Yub nub.